Let's make birthday cake candle earrings. Hi, and welcome back to my craft room. My name is Kelsey. I also call myself Dinosaur Mama, and today we are making birthday cake candle earrings. These are made out of faux leather and HTV, and they are pretty simple to make. If you are new to my craft room, welcome. You can find all the links below, including the link to the free SVG files, and that'll be on my blog where I have over 850 free files to download. It is my birthday week, and I'm not sure. I thought I was gonna put this out on Friday. It might be out before. If it is Friday, happy Friday. If it's not Friday, I got ahead in time, so that's good. But I wanted to bring this to you the week of my birthday. I had been seeing people make these and I thought they were so cute, I had to try it myself. If you like free projects for your Cricut and Silhouette, then please don't forget to subscribe. And right after doing that, let's jump over into Cricut Design Space. So when you get the SVG file, it's all the numbers. So the first thing that you need to do is ungroup the entire file and delete the numbers you don't need. By the time this goes live, I will have had my 35th birthday, so that's the earrings I'm making today. And from here you'll see there's like this extra strand, this extra star. We can just delete that. We're gonna actually go ahead and you can ungroup and then just delete that real quick and come pop back on and group it. Same for this. What I would do is just move this one up and then group them. Sometimes when you transfer the SVGs from Inkscape onto Cricut, they just kind of go haywire. But from here, what I'm going to do is make sure, first of all, that they are just about the same size. You can do that by just overlapping them. They look great. And then the next thing I want to do is resize them. So I'm going to make these just about 2.75. You can make, I'm really zoomed out. I promise they're not that small. You can make them a little bit bigger if you want. But I feel like 2.7, 2.8 is pretty much what we want them to be at. So, of course, it's your earring. You can make it as big or as small as you want. Keep that in mind. Also, with colors, you can change whatever you want. Now, the only other thing that I want to say is that most faux leather, the faux leather I've used, has always been one-sided. So it's faux leather on one side and like felt on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to duplicate just the backing and I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to do that for this yellow piece as well. So I'm just going to duplicate, and you definitely want to flip it. That way it cuts backwards and you can put them together. And I'm going to use Fabri-Tac to glue them together. And I'm going to do the same thing to the 5 as well. So I'm just going to duplicate, flip, and then for this, I'm also going to duplicate and flip. So make sure that you have those done if you want to do a back. If you don't want to do a back, you can skip this part. Now from there, I don't have any jump ring holes in here. You can add them now if you'd like to. I just use tweezers to poke holes through my faux leather because it's not that thick. From there, you can hit make once it's ready. And I am going to leave it as 12 by 12. And when I'm cutting faux leather, I kind of like to cut it down towards the bottom. So sort of like here, that way I can tape around the faux leather really, really well. So just see where it is on your mat and place your faux leather there. And then we're gonna go around with painter's tape to secure down our faux leather. Now for everything else, so you have your candle tops here, you're definitely gonna wanna move those down as well and cut those in faux leather. And then for everything else, it's going to be an HTV, so make sure you're mirroring if necessary. I am now in beta mode for Cricut Design Space, and they have turned on auto mirroring, which is awesome. So now I can go into Browse All Materials, and I'm going to type in leather, and I'm going to use the faux paper thin leather, and I'm going to leave all of my settings here as normal. I'm going to use the fine point blade. You can use the deep point blade. I'm not changing the pressure. I just want to make sure that my faux leather is attached really well to my fabric mat, and we can go ahead and send it through. Now, as for when we get to our HTV parts, if you're in beta, you'll see I choose everyday iron on, and it says mirror is on. So we can go ahead and get started on our cutting. So as I mentioned before, I want to put my faux leather kind of towards the bottom, and I'm going to secure this very well all around the sides. I even suggest if you have a brayer or some sort of squeegee to make sure that it is attached really well to that mat. You really don't want there to be any sort of give underneath it. So you want it to be stuck all over because you don't want to give your blade the chance to catch on anything. So just put painter's tape all the way around your faux leather. Like I said, I like to work in the corner. That way, when it comes out of the machine, I can check to make sure the cut was good. It's a little bit harder to check when your cut is all the way at the top left, and it's a little bit easier when it's all the way out of the machine in the bottom. So that's just how I'm gonna put it on. So here it is with all of the sides taped, and I'm gonna go send it through the machine. And it just came out, and I'm going to peel off one of the numbers. It cut really nicely. And so I'll have 1 5 facing this way and 1 5 facing the other way. The first thing that I did was just weeded all of my heat transfer vinyl and got that all prepared so that I can kind of just go through all of the motions of putting everything on. So these are pretty small because my earrings are small. So, you know, the stars are a little bit small. So just take your time when weeding. And of course, if you don't want to do stars, you can always do something else in Cricut Design Space. But the first thing that I did was weeded all of my HTV. Now I am using my mini press on the lowest setting when it comes to my HTV and my faux leather. You know, definitely test this out if it's your first time using these two materials together. So I'm just doing a little bit of light pressure. I did probably do this for about 15 seconds and hold it over, and always like kind of be gentle, I guess, when you pull it off, because you don't want it to not have stuck like I did here, and then you end up like ripping your HTV. So gentle pressure, about 10 to 15 seconds. Definitely do a little test press on like some extra leather if you have it, to make sure that, you know, nothing burns or melts or anything like that. And try to use a Teflon sheet if you have one. If you don't have Teflon, you can always use a piece of parchment as well. And here is my first little number all done, and it looks great. And so I'm going to do the same thing over for the 5. Make sure you're using the right side of the faux leather as well when you're doing it. I decided to do my HTV first rather than do the gluing of the two sides. I decided to do that last. No reason for it, but I just thought it would be better. I didn't want like the glue to heat up or anything. Now for my stars or your sprinkles, whatever you want to, whatever it is, whatever you end up doing, just make sure when you're putting these on, I cut out each little star and place them down, that if they're on at the same time, you don't have anything overlapping, because you don't want to end up heating it and it just transfers onto another piece of plastic. So you want to make sure there's no overlap here, and you can place these however you want. There's no rhyme or reason for it. So do whatever you want to. And again, the same kind of pressure, about 10 to 15 seconds, light pressure again with the Teflon sheet. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to press on all of my stars, and you can do these again, any pattern that you want. And here are those numbers all done. Now, when it comes to your little flames, you want to make sure that these are facing the right way for when you put your HTV on, because the flame just won't match up to the way that it's facing HTV wise. I hope that made sense. So again, we're just going to do the same thing where we're pressing for about 10 to 15 seconds and adding our HTV onto our candle. So now we are going to start gluing everything, meaning the fronts and the backs. I just feel like having that second layer gives you like a little more protection in a way, because it's just a little thicker. So there's like no chance of it flopping around. It just gives it a little more density. You want to be pretty liberal with the amount of Fabri-Tac that you use. Get over to the edges, because at first I did not. I kind of only did the inside, and it just was not it. You want to get a lot on there and make sure it's secure all the way around, because once it's secure, it's great. Fabri-Tac is amazing, but you definitely want to get it all the way around the edges. So make sure that when you glue, it's really secure. So you see I'm going back in there and getting all of those edges. I'm going to do the front and the back for the 3, and then for the 5, and then for the flames. And I did not put the holes into my leather yet. We're going to wait until everything is done and dried. So go ahead and glue everything front to back, and then we'll go ahead and poke some holes into our candles. So for the holes, you're going to need to make 3 jump ring holes. One at the top in the center of the candle of the number, So right in the center, I'm just poking a small hole with my tweezers. I have very sharp tweezers. It's the easiest way to do it. Just poke a tiny hole through both sides right in the center. And then you're going to grab your jump ring, and I'm using like a little teeny tiny pair of pliers to grab my jump ring, and you're going to thread that through. And then this is going to connect to your flame, and then your flame is going to connect to your actual earring hardware. So I'm first putting this through both sides of the three. I don't think it matters which way it goes, if I'm going to be honest. But, you know, just put it in there. And then be patient with yourself as you get it through. I have really long nails, so it was a little bit difficult. And then we're going to poke the holes on the flame, and you're going to do one on the top in the center and one in the bottom on the center. And what's nice is if you do the jump rings at the end and not when you are in Cricut and have your Cricut cut it, is that you can also go through the HTV. And again, it just make sure everything that you have is lined up all the way through. You don't have to worry about like getting it perfect. So it's nice to do the jump ring holes yourself. And I'm just going to add on my flame and make sure that your HTV side is facing out the same way as your candle. And you're going to go ahead and close that jump ring once you have it threaded through. And again, I'm going to use my pliers to close it. I'm just using my tweezers to help me place it on to the jump ring. Again, it's really hard to work with these nails, but gotta do what I gotta do. If I don't have them, I'm a major biter. All right, so once you have that on, we can go ahead and secure that closed. And again, I'm just using those pliers. I got everything at Michael's, and all the materials and tools will be linked down below that I'm using. You can use any sort of earrings for this. You can also use like a little stud at the end to kind of like poke it through. Totally up to you, or a hoop. They have a lot of different hardware options, but there is the start of our candle. And now we're going to put the last hole through the top of the flame. And you can do this before you attach it if you feel more comfortable doing that. But I'm just going to pop the hole right into the top of the flame, add another jump ring before I add on my earring. And that's so that the earring will sit the right way. It'll sit the right direction where the candle is facing out towards you. So make sure you're adding in this extra jump ring before just adding on your earring hardware. So there it is. And I'm going to add on my little earring hardware, and mine are just like the normal slide through earrings for dangle earrings. And make sure you put this facing the right way too, so that it's so that when you slide it in, the earring's facing forward. You don't want to do it backwards by accident. And again, once you have it on, you can clamp it closed with your pair of pliers or tweezers, whatever you chose to do. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing over on the 5. So add in my hole, add a hole onto the flame, connect those together with a jump ring, add another hole at the top of the flame, jump ring, and then earring hardware. And we should be good to go with our 2 earrings. Thank you for joining me as we made our birthday cake candle earrings. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to give this a thumbs up. It helps me so much. Subscribe to my channel for new craft projects every week, and share this with one of your craft friends who has a birthday coming up or wants to start making these for their birthday friends. I will see you soon in my craft room, and stay crafty.